All right, good evening, everyone. It's Erica. I am just recording this quick for Michelle. I have a piece of yarn here and our hook, and we're going to do a quick review of what we've learned so far. So I think most of you are doing the knife grip, the hook. So you're holding it as if you were holding a knife, pinching between your pointer finger and your thumb here, so you're able to roll that needle in your hand so that you can grab and pull. All right, and then we have our yarn. I'm going to make a quick slip knot and pull through here. Wait, oh, wrong way. There we go. So that's just a twist around. I think everybody had the slip knot. Make sure that you're pulling, when you pull on the slip knot to tighten, that the main part of your yarn here is what you're pulling on to get the change in tension. So we're on the needle here. You can see it's not tight. I can slide it up and down. Like, we don't want to like really strangle the throat of the needle here. You're grabbing or winding our yarn around our fingers here, just like this. Okay. We're pinching with our middle finger and our thumb. We're grabbing this knot so that we have control of this. So I can spin this around. Everything's tight. Okay. But our hands are loose. So then we're taking the yarn, we're going to go over the top of the hook. We're going to turn the hook down and pull it through. Right like that. Okay, let's do that again. And as you work, you can put your finger on top of here to grab that. Change your grip. Put your grip up closer to the needle. Wrap again. And pull and go through. Okay? Let's do that one more time. Change the grip. Wrap. Give you this kind of, and as we're going through, we're pulling like that. Okay? All right, so that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have 3 loops here so far. So let's just kind of quickly do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that's a chain of 10. Let's see if we can zoom in here so you guys can get a little bit better of a look, because I know some of you missed a little bit of class. All right, there we go. Okay, so if you're looking at the top of your work here, I got a little thing I can use to point. Okay, so we're looking at 1. There's the top of the 1. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The loop on the hook does not count, okay? All right. So now we're going to, so we're doing the same thing we did in class. I'm going to chain 1 more, and then we're going to spin the work, go right towards you. You're going to look at the back of your work here, okay? So let's look at this real quick. Here is the back. Let's see if I can get any closer. Yep. All right. Now, when you're looking at the back of the work, you're seeing the multiple lumps, like the stitch going right down the middle. That's what we're going to work through. Those are the back bumps, okay? Right down there. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down here. Those are all your back bumps. Now, alternatively, I believe some of you were working in the top loops. So if we have tension problems, things like that, it's not going to be as clean of a look, but it gets the job done. So, or you could work through these top loops here. Okay, so let's work through the back bumps. Now we're going to skip the first one. Let me zoom out a little bit here. We're very close. Okay. So we're going to skip this first one, which it kind of got pulled a little tight, but let's go to the second one here. Now you just want to pull up this 1 thread, okay? Once you have that on your hook, you have the 2. So you have your loop from the end of the chain 1. Now you have the first back bump here after the skip. You're going to yarn over. You're going to turn your needle down. You're going to pull through. So you still have two on your hook, okay? Going to yarn over again, turn your needle, pull through both. So that gave you your stitch up, that gave you your height, and closed off the loop from the top before. All right, so now we're going to go through the next back bump here. Boop, there we go. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, okay? Now we're going to yarn over again and pull through both. So the first, going through the back bump here, you're pulling up this back bump loop, and this is attaching. So this is progressing, you're attaching your next line of work down the chain. So you're attaching it here, you're going to grab a loop and pull up. Okay, so that's your next staff, if you will, your next post that's going up. And then you're going to yarn over, and as you pull through, you're creating your next working loop, but you're closing off that stitch. So you're closing off, there's your post and there's your top stitch, okay? So you're going to continue to work down the line here. And sometimes you have to kind of use your fingers to find the loops. There we go. Okay, and just kind of progress here. Okay. You hear little tiny feet. That's not very tiny feet. Let me show you. I have a bit of a accidentally hit stop there. Okay, so we're picking back up. Had an intruder. So we'll go to our next loop. Continuing to stitch down our second line here, second row. Pulling up all these back bumps. Now this is, like we said in class, Michelle said in class, that this is the worst part of crocheting, is your second row. Once you get past row 2, it goes much smoother. Okay, pulling up that loop, working through your post and your top chain, keeping that loop, your work taut here. Getting like 2 more here. Now this is not the way I always go about doing this, so I struggle a little more with pulling up these back loops. There we go. Yarn over, pull through, one more. Usually this last one's pretty easy to find. There it is. Oh, I split through, there we go. Oop. Yarn over, pull through. Okay. So now we have a finished, this is 2 rows. So we have our starting, let's see here. So we have our starting chain down here, and then we went up, and then we came back this way. And this is our second chain cross. So if we look down from the top, these V's, this is what the top of your work should look like, these little loops here. So I should have 10 going down here if we did everything correctly, which I do. But that's how you can count them. All right, so then to go to the next row, we're going to chain 1. So this is going to take your work up so your edge stays the right height for the next row. And then you're going to spin your work like a book, like you're turning a page in a book. So you're taking it from right to left, flipping it this way. Just turn it right around there. And now you have your post that you just did. So you've got the height, the working height for the next row. And now you're going to begin your row 3. And this is where the pattern starts, okay? This is where you're going to basically be repeating the same thing as you work up. So I have my post here. Now you always want to make sure you're going to end up with 10, okay? So we're going to work in this first stitch, and we're going to pull up, and we're going to wrap around and pull through 2. So now you can see, I mean, you can kind of see where you're working in. I mean, you kind of see the post stitch and then the dent. It's these dents that you're going to be putting your needle through that goes all the way through the work. It kind of makes, especially with this kind of yarn, you can really cleanly see them. And you'll know you did it right if when you go through here to pick up your next loop, okay, you look at the top. Let's get this out of the way. You can see there are 2 pieces of yarn over my needle that I just pulled up, and they're in the V. So that's what we want to have on top of our needle there. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and pull through both of those pieces there. So now I have 2 loops back on. So this is my post that I'm working on. This is going to be my top stitch. So now I have to close off the stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through both. So that closed that stitch, okay? So now we're going to go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on, yarn over, post, top stitch, close the stitch. Okay, through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, in through the stitch, yarn over again, pull through both. Okay, so we're going into the stitch here, all the way through. We're picking up both of those pieces of thread there. We're going to wrap around over, pull up that hoop. There's our post. We're going to yarn over again. This is the sealing yarn, kind of. It's like sealing off that stitch. So now we have a post and a top stitch, okay? I'm going to go through the next post, pull up, gonna get through this one, so through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a stitch, yarn over again, close off that stitch. And now the last ones are always kind of funky. So you can kind of see here, if you look at the edge, you'll see there's crossed yarn. Like the yarn kind of crosses over itself. So you can see the stitch before it. So you can see this stitch here. So you want to go through here and pick that up, because you need to place your last stitch on top of this one. So we're going to go through this over here. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through both. So you can see it kind of stacks there, because this is the up. This was our chain 1 to go up, so it always looks a little weird, because when you chained up over here, it's always the opposite side. So now we have a stitch over here and a chain under it. So now you just keep on going. So you're going to chain 1 to get your height. You're going to spin it like a book and continue to work. So you pick up, go right into that first stitch, pull up a loop, and then continue all the way back down. So there we are. I finished that row. So now when you get to the end of however far you want to make your work, you'll see I have 1 loop on here. So I'm going to, if I say I'm done here, I'm just going to cut my tail. Let's see, go a little bit here. Okay. So now, how do I get my work off the hook without it unraveling? So I have my loop on. I have my working yarn that I just cut here. And I'm just going to take it and wrap it over my yarn, or my hook, sorry, pull through, and then just keep pulling. So you pull that tail all the way out, and then you just give it a little bit of a tug, and it'll make a little knot down there. And then we're going to go over how to tuck these in to your work this week. But you can see here, this is pretty square, this is pretty much of a rectangle at this point. So the stitches are all fairly even. If you look at the top, these are all clean. So this is what we want to work on tension and just getting everything to be so that it's fairly straight sides. If you see your work is going in, it means you're dropping stitches somewhere. If it's going out, it could be you're adding them. It could also be your tension. All right. Hope that helps you guys. We will see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend.